So you have $1,000 budget to get yourself a brand new camera to shoot videos with. Which camera should you get? And that's a pretty tough question to answer because it really depends on what you're trying to do. For example, if you're a filmmaker, you probably want something with a nice flat color profile with a really dense codec, or if you want something super convenient, then maybe just a point and shoot. But best overall camera for under $1,000, I would say, is probably this, the Sony A6400. But some of you might be like, whoa, is Potato Jet recommending a camera that's not a Canon? Yes, for about $500, I would say maybe look at the Canon M50. For around $2,000, I really love my Canon EOS R, but in the $1,000 price range, I think this thing takes home the bread. Now, as much as I love my Canon cameras, they're doing this weird thing where they're pulling 24 frames per second out of a lot of their consumer cameras. It started off in the full HD on the EOS RP, which is a $1,300 camera with no 24p and full HD. What? And now with the new G7X and G5X, they've removed that feature as well. So I think if this trend continues with Canon, their consumer cameras are basically going to be dead to me. So this is how it comes out of the box. I'm not even going to attach any fancy microphones or lenses on here. I'm just going to take this out and shoot a mini vlog just like this. So let's head over to VidCon because Epidemic Sounds hooked us up with some tickets. Should be a good time, man. If you're not using Epidemic Sounds for your music and sound effects needs, you're missing out. I've been using them for a really long time. Most of the music on this channel is from there, including this one. And they also have a ton of sound effects that you can search through, so you can add in all kinds of crazy sound effects and it'll be awesome. And I also love that their music library is quality, so you don't have to spend a ton of time sorting through terrible music because everyone hates that process, right? Link in description for a free trial, so might as well give them a shot if you haven't already. Let's go to VidCon. Woo! What is that?
It's my new name, man.
I need some advice from my evil twin. All right, what color profile do you shoot on?
Either no picture profile or hybrid log gamma.
And then there's 3 HLGs, right?
Right.
Which one do you use?
I use hybrid log gamma too.
Hey, well, it was nice to meet you, Potato Jet.
Oh, nice to meet you, Jason.
Cool. Do you guys have some like gangster rap music that we could put over this?
I think we can fix it.
Okay, cool.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hay. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost.
So not bad, right? Especially when you consider that that was with 0 accessories, no expensive microphones or lenses. If you spend $1,000 to get this camera, that's the type of image quality you can expect to get out of this thing. I took Jason's advice and shot in HLG2 with the Rec 709 color space, and then I manually graded it. I am working on a set of LUTs for the Sony camera. I was hoping to have it done by now, but it's just I take so long making these LUTs because I want to shoot like dozens and dozens of shots and make sure that one LUT can work on a lot of different shots well. So I'm still working on it, but I'll be sure to let you guys know when I'm done with that. This actually isn't my first time testing out the A6400. Sony invited me out to play with a pre-release version and they brought me to an island. I wasn't sure if they were gonna hold me captive and make me switch to Sony before they let me go, but no, they were actually super cool and it was a super fun experience. And the thing is, I only had 1 day with it and my takeaway was kind of like, I like it, but I still prefer my Canon EOS R, which I'm filming on right now, a bit better for a couple different reasons, but it makes sense. I mean, this Canon EOS R's body is like double the price of this. But ever since then, I've always wanted to do a deep dive on this camera, spend a couple weeks with it, and so I bought it and here it is. And this video isn't sponsored by Sony or anyone. I paid full price for this. Now, the reason why I would consider this to currently be the best camera for under $1,000 is because it's got a good amount of features that's well balanced between the YouTube vlogger types and also professional filmmakers. Because between those groups, the needs of a camera significantly different. So let's start with YouTubers slash vloggers. First of all, you need to be able to film yourself. Yeah, like right now, I don't have anyone that'll be down to help me, so just filming myself. I'm alone in this room. It's very quiet. I'm kind of sad. I just need to be able to hit that record button and then come here and talk and blah, blah. So oftentimes convenience takes priority over the best image quality. This thing is really small. If we took off that lens, it would be pocket size. So walking around VidCon, all I had to do was carry this little thing around and man, that was convenient. And of course, if you're filming yourself, you want to have a flip screen so I can check, do I have anything in my teeth? Do I have any boogers hanging out? And trust me, the last thing you want to do is go and shoot an awesome vlog and then come home and be like, oh man, I had all this junk in my teeth. And of course, autofocus, because I want to focus on the camera. Now I want it to focus on me. Now I want to focus back on the camera, and I don't have a camera operator back there, so I need it to be pretty smart in the camera. And the autofocus coming out of this camera is definitely solid if you're using E-mount native lenses. I have heard some people say that you can get adapters to Canon EF lenses, but I've personally have no luck with that yet. The autofocus becomes pretty bad. And also, when you switch the camera to S-Log2, which is its log flat picture profile, the autofocus becomes really bad. Now that I think about it, Matty Hapoya did tell me that his camera had issues autofocusing in S-Log, and I remember thinking like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, the color profile shouldn't really affect the autofocusing capability. I would hope the camera's smart enough to bypass that log, and I don't know. I don't know why exactly it does it, but the autofocus not as good in S-Log2. Luckily, if we're vlogging or just shooting YouTube videos, we can shoot with a profile like HLG or even no picture profile, and it'll look pretty solid and you'll get that great autofocus. And this kit lens that came with this camera, well, it's a kit lens, so you're not gonna get anything fantastic out of it, but plenty to get started with, and of course you can grow your lens collection as you go. But do keep in mind that there is no stabilization that happens in the camera body. There's no digital stabilization or IBIS or anything like that, so definitely recommend using a lens with optical steady shot, especially if you're holding it just like this. It does come with a mic jack, which is probably one of the first things I would get for it, and everybody was making fun of where this hot shoe is, and it is pretty weird that they did put this hot shoe here because that's usually where people put their microphone. But luckily, that's a pretty straightforward fix. This is just like a $20 piece from Amazon, and that will offset your microphone much better. I'll link it in the description below. Now, the sound quality out of the camera itself isn't terrible. It's definitely usable, but a lot of times I prefer to put an external one on here because it's more directional. So for example, when I was vlogging inside of that crowded room with Jason, we weren't just getting audio from us, we were getting a whole lot of audio from other people's Atola visuals. What do you shoot on?
YouTube comments. No picture profile.
No picture profile. Talking about how I don't read my comments. I do read my comments. Sometimes. So these microphones, great for making the audio more directional. Also keep in mind the battery life on this. They're pretty small batteries, so it's nothing significant. It's not terrible, but definitely plan on having a few extra on you. And having 120 frames per second in 1080p, you can tell it's a little bit softer, but it's still fun to have in this camera. And Sony's also done a really great job improving the quality of their LCD screens back here. If you put this on the sunny setting, it's comparable to the LCD on this EOS R. Definitely usable even when it's really bright. The only thing I really wish they had was some sort of stabilization inside the camera, even if it wasn't IBIS, even like a little digital stabilization that you can apply like this EOS R has, or even the Canon M50. I don't love digital stabilization, but just applying a small amount does help, especially once you start playing with some of the funner lenses. They usually don't come with image stabilization. So that was definitely a big thing that I would love to have inside of here. And then of course there's the Colorscience, and this is gonna be a very subjective thing because there's a lot of people that just love the colors that come straight out of a Sony, but me personally, I prefer the colors that Canon has to offer. And I have done some blind side-by-side tests in the past, and majority of people prefer the colors out of the Canon, so that is where Canon has some points. But that's why I'm working so hard on making some LUTs for this camera, because I would love to utilize the horsepower that comes out of this camera and then be able to very easily color grade the footage to the way I like it. And finally, there is overheating. Now, Sony's gotten a whole lot better about their cameras overheating, but they still can. All right, it is another sunny day here in Los Angeles. It is currently 90 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius. I have no idea. But we're just letting these cameras cook up right here, and it's been about 13 minutes. I'm starting to sweat, so I'm gonna be the first one to tap out, but we'll see how these cameras do. This is recording in 100 megabits per second, and the Canon is recording at 480 megabits per second. So this EOS R is actually doing a lot more work, but the EOS R has never actually overheated on me before, so be interesting to see how these two do. And you could also adjust the tolerance of how hot this camera gets before it shuts off. By default, it's on the middle, but I brought it up to high, so it should stay on longer. Now, if you'd excuse me, I'm gonna go inside and sit in front of an air conditioner because I'm sweaty and I feel gross.
Been a little too nice to y'all.
Oh, there it is. Temp high, allow it to cool. So there it goes, it's shut off. So that's one of the trade-offs with the Canon and Sony. You know, Sony tries to put a lot of power into a small body, but the trade-off is that you could run into issues like this. Canon, on the other hand, they won't release a camera unless they know it's bulletproof, but then when they come out with a camera, everyone's like, wow, it's so underwhelming with its specs. So there's kind of the trade-off. Sam, are you surprised about this?
No, I'm not.
You've run into plenty of issues with A7S overheating.
So there I was in North Carolina trying to get some B-roll of some military guys going with some guns in the middle of the summer. And as soon as I hit record, the warning would come out and it would just shut off. And I would have to wait in the shade. It was about like 90 degrees, but extremely humid. At the beginning, it would roll for like a good 3 minutes and then it would give me the warning sign, but it would still let me roll. But after a while, it just did not let me, it wouldn't turn on. It just didn't. It was turned on for like 5 seconds and then just shut off again.
Yeah, so those kind of suck if you're there hired, you're getting paid as a videographer, and you show up with a camera and you're like, I can't even turn it on right now. Then that does not look good on you. But A6400 definitely lasted a whole lot longer. I think this one rolled for about 25 minutes before it shut off in 90-degree weather. Obviously, if you're gonna be in 100-degree weather or up, then it's gonna be more of an issue. Definitely try to stay in the shade. The LCD does emit a lot of heat, so if you try to separate that away from the body, that is gonna help dissipate the heat a little bit. Ooh, okay, there we go. I finally got the EOS R to overheat. I see a little temperature gauge right here. I've never actually seen this camera shut down like that before, but it is possible. You just have to wait till it's mid-noon. It's like 95 degrees now, and it wasn't overheating on that bench, so I put it on this hot rock and it's very, very warm. That's how you overheat an EOS R. Let's say you're more of a professional filmmaker, so you get hired to shoot either events, commercial, projects, whatever. One of the things I really love about this is that there is no recording time limit. So if I record for 30 minutes on this camera, it automatically cuts itself and I have to go back and hit record. And that's the case for a majority of DSLR mirrorless cameras right now, but this doesn't have any, which is awesome, especially if you want to record like a podcast where you're gonna just hit record and you just want to talk for hours and hours, or let's say like a wedding where you want to just plant the camera somewhere and just have it record the whole thing. I think a lot of pros do plan on doing a lot of color grading, so you have S-Log 2 in here, but again, remember that autofocus isn't as good, so you'll probably be wanting to use manual focus, but you do have focus peaking on here, which makes it a whole lot easier to accurately pull manual focus even on this teeny little screen. They do also have S-Log 3 in here, which is a super flat picture profile, but in this camera, do not touch it because it's an 8-bit codec at 100 megabits per second. To properly utilize S-Log 3 and all the dynamic range and features it has to offer, you really need a serious camera. Like on the Sony FS7, I love shooting in S-Log 3 because you can grade the hell out of it, but on this thing, it's going to fall apart. You're gonna have all kinds of artifacts and issues in your image. It would have been kind of nice if it had some sort of headphone jack so you can monitor the audio this is recording, but in those cases, a lot of times you'll have an external recorder like this recording audio anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. And if you really want to monitor audio out of this thing, I believe you can get an audio signal out of the HDMI to the monitor. If the monitor has a headphone jack, then you can monitor it that way. And of course, gimbals are all the craze now, and they are making cheaper, smaller gimbals like the DJI Ronin SC, and then Zhiyun just came out with one. I think it's called the M2. I'll be doing a test on that pretty soon. And this is the type of camera size you want for gimbals like that. And also, if you want to get more of the full frame look out of this thing, there are speed boosters like there's this one from Viltrox, and this is going to allow this camera to adapt to some of my Canon full frame lenses, and it can give you better performance in low light and give you a little bit more of that full frame look. So definitely one of the things that's worth looking into. But there you go, there's the Sony A6400, a really solid camera for under $1,000. So what do you guys think? Is this the best camera for under $1,000? I asked you guys on Instagram. I thought you only use Canon apart from cinema cameras usually. Yeah, but again, 24 frames per second is kind of important. Orange83 says, I think so. Yes, I bought it and I'm amazed. For video, yes. Isn't your job to know these things? Touche. No IBIS, no love. It is kind of a bummer that we don't have that. No, because your client will think you brought a point and shoot. That is true. This camera is tiny. tiny. With a small lens on here, this thing looks like a little baby. Will you hurry up and make those presets? I'm working on it. I would say within a week or so. Maybe I'm already done with it. You just check the description down there. Maybe it's already there. The XT2 is around that price. I think that is another good one to look at, although no flip screen. So this is one of those things that I consider to be really high priority, especially if you're planning on doing anything YouTube. I'm loving the A6400 so far. Great quality in small size. Fujifilm X-T30 all the way. A lot of people loving that X-T30 though. I do want to test that camera out. Best tripod ever. Yes, my stack of rocks. Anyways, if you guys want to get in on this conversation, you should totally follow me on Instagram. You should totally keep a lookout for my presets, and I am out of things to say.